Big news from Donald Trump. We're talking 50-year mortgages and $2,000 dividend slash Stemi checks. That plus a lot of Fed speak. Let's get into the news of the day. Let's talk about 50-year mortgages first. Let me just say, I understand the reason, right? Affordability sucks. We need to make affordability better. However, I believe a 50 or frankly even a 40-year mortgage is not how you do it. Now, let me just say this. I know there are some investors, some of them are my best friends, who would say something like, I would take a 1,000-year mortgage if it was allowed, to which I say, I get it. You're an investor. You're looking for cash flow day one. A longer mortgage gives you more cash flow. I get it. I understand. I think it's even logical. However, most folks buy homes to live in. And signing up for a 50-year mortgage or a 40-year mortgage or a 100-year mortgage is not something I am game for. Basically, I've done some rough math, and basically you're going to pay almost double the total interest. My calculations were a $400,000 mortgage at 7%. Produces $558,000 in interest over 30 years. That same $400,000 mortgage at 7% for 50 years produces $1.16 million in interest, roughly double, or exactly double. So again, who wins in this? Well, banks win. Banks clearly win, right? The average homeowner, keeps their mortgage for between 8 and 11 years. So we know that. Second, homeowners that own today win, right? We have done math in the past when they talked about a 40-year mortgage and what would happen over the course of 12 to 18 months is housing would get more expensive. And frankly, we don't need that. I know the process to fix the broken housing market, which the Fed clearly broke, is slow. I know that it will take years and frankly, years more to come. Introducing anything that gooses or incentivizes demand is not the right answer. Of course, it feels the best in the moment. It feels the best if you're in charge because you can do it. It's quick. However, I think the long-term ramifications of 50-year mortgages becoming the standard bearer is not a great idea, in my opinion. So again, 50-year mortgages, not something I would vote for, not something I would recommend. But hey, if it happens, let's just say this. I mean, do the math. We don't pay cash for housing, clearly. We buy on payment. And a 50-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage gives you roughly 12% more buying power. So guess what happens? Housing will reset 10 to 14% higher. That's just math, folks. That means homes get more expensive. That means the median home prices go up. Not what I would think. Also, it should be pointed out, given current finance regulations, loans over 30 years, not good, not approved. You have to change the rules. I think it is in Dodd-Frank. Wealth building journey highlights that as well. But it could be changed, right? If the president of the United States wants 50-year mortgages, I'm pretty sure that Dodd-Frank could be changed. So there we have it. 50-year mortgages, not a good idea, in my opinion, unless you're an investor. If you're an investor going for cash flow, totally understand. I get it. But again, if you think about the country, home buyers, the next generation, I'm not a fan of 50-year mortgages. All right, how about this $2,000 dividend? Under another era, it would have been called a Stemi check or a stimulus check. Obviously, President Trump is talking about sending out this $2,000 dividend slash Stemi check, probably because, didn't have a very good election. Wants to change the narrative. Wants to send people some money from the tariff collection. Let's not forget that we have a Supreme Court case going on right now where it appears the Supreme Court justices will call the tariffs a tax, and a tax can only be held by Congress and thus might have to be rebated or returned. So I'm not sure sending out $2,000 dividend checks when you might have to refund that money is a great idea. Talk about growing the national debt, which I thought we were trying to pay off. This is a wild idea. Again, not something I would go for. I thought we were doing tariffs to pay off the national debt. I thought we needed to bend the curve and all of that. Again, bending the curve on the national debt is important. You want to see rates collapse? Bend the curve. It's hard. I get it. We've been running trillion-dollar deficits for years. It's hard. I get it. It's not quick. I get it. It's slower than you like. I get it. It's still a must-have. Or we go down the path of Ray Dalio and this whole thing blows up. So there we go. My thoughts on $2,000 Stemi/dividend checks and 50-year mortgages. Let's talk about the Fed speak because we're getting a lot of Fed speak, a lot next week as well. First, we'll talk about a new New York Fed survey. Future financial situation declined. People think the future is going down. Current financial situation worsened, not good. Labor market negative. 3-year inflation expectation 3%, holding firm. 1-year inflation expectation actually went down to 3.2 from 3.4. How about Fed President Jefferson? Fed rate is closer to neutral. We should proceed slowly, aka no December cut. Fed President Hammack. We need restrictive policy to bring inflation down. Do not believe the data warrant an interest rate cut, aka no December cut. Fed President Williams. Model-based neutral rate is estimated to be around 1%, aka cut in December. Finally, Fed President Moran. We don't need 75 basis point cuts. I want 50. So again, Fed cut in December. This Fed is divided. We've talked about it a lot. I would argue that probably more than half currently do not want a December cut. The other half, 40% do. Home builders are using rate buydowns on entry-level housing to the tune of 10 to 12% of cost. Wow. That is pretty wild. Peter Thiel is out talking about capitalism is not working for young people. Student loan debt for worthless degrees delays home ownership. To which I say, and I've said for quite a while, we need to get the federal government out of student loans. The fact that the government is funding student loans has caused college tuition to go crazy high. It has caused untold pain. And, oh, by the way, we need to change bankruptcy laws. So if you do go down that unfortunate path, student loans can be discharged. Frankly, I believe we should get the federal government out of student loans altogether and have it done by the private sector. That way, different degrees have different costs, right? An engineering degree may have a different thing than art history, right? The average income post-graduation is different. Thus, there should be different risks. So again, change, got to get the government out of student housing. They distort the market and frankly have caused a lot of pain. Foreign investors in U.S. Treasuries fell to the lowest level since 2012. Again, we are seeing more countries go the route of gold, Bitcoin, and equities, getting out of U.S. Treasuries. Scott Bessent is highlighting that real prosperity is going to return to Main Street in Q1. Inflation down, paychecks up. Also, he highlights that we should see significant tax returns in Q1 or tax refunds in Q1 as no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, things of that nature take hold. So we should see a lot of folks get larger than expected tax refunds from those things. Don't know if you guys are impacted by flight cancellations, but we were. Over the weekend, upwards of 3,700 flights were delayed a day. That was on Saturday. 931 flights canceled, and it's only going to get worse from here. Folks, we are obviously coming up on one of the largest travel days of the year, Thanksgiving, and all I can say is chaos, 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 because I believe the shutdown will continue. It will continue to Thanksgiving. I don't know what to say. I'm disgusted, absolutely disgusted by the shutdown. No words of as far as I'm concerned. If you're in Congress and you're shut down, all of you should not be up for re-election. Start over. Get a whole new group. They all suck. Get rid of them. Horrible. Talk about our growing school community. I do want to thank 4 people for joining the last 2 days. We had Andrew, Justin, Peter, and Emily. Again, folks, join school. I think we're at 486 members. When we get to 500, I will do. Actually, you know what? I haven't announced it. It just hit me. When we get to 500 school members, I will do a live Q&A in the evening. We'll do it at 5 or 6 p.m. I don't normally do evening sessions. I usually like to do everything in the morning. But if you can help me get to 500 school members, so we need 14 more, we will do a live session so you can ask me anything. I'll also do my best to get different millionaires on board. We'll do a big kind of virtual party for getting to 500. I'll invite anybody I can, and we'll see if we can't get a big millionaire party where you can ask all of us questions. So again, force me to put on a virtual party for 500. Link is there on the screen, school.com/ORaaT. So I will see you there. Read an article about home equity. Home equity is more than doubled since 2020 in half the country. However, in the following 5 states, it's up over 200%. Number 5, Illinois. Home equity since 2020 is up 217%. Kansas, 234%. Connecticut, 297%. Oklahoma, 431%. And finally, folks, the state where home equity has gone up the most since 2020, I would have never, ever, ever guessed this, West Virginia. Home equity in West Virginia has gone from $6,500 to $35,800, or 450%. Looking at decline since 2020, there was one state in one, I don't know what you call it, territory. Louisiana, negative 22%, and Washington, D.C., negative 38%. Places where home equity has actually gone down. As for the week ahead, we have Veterans Day on Tuesday. Shout out to all the veterans. We do get a small business optimism survey, 1 Fed speech. Wednesday, we have six Fed speeches. Thursday, we're supposed to get CPI. Don't count on it. And 4 Fed speeches. Finally, Friday, we get retail sales, PPI, and 2 Fed speeches. And lastly, folks, we are going to talk about consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment on Friday was atrocious, horrible. It was the second lowest in history. It came in at 50.3, was expected to come in at 53, and it missed significantly. Not only is it the second lowest on record, it is the 4th month in a row of decline. Folks, that is called a trend. That is not good. And the only time consumer sentiment was worse was during the peak of the chaos during the JFC global financial crisis, aka 2008. Folks, there you go. That is the daily financial news. Again, remember, join school. If you are a landlord, you need to check out Steadily. They are landlord and landlord only insurance. See if they can get you a better quote with better coverage. They help me and Olivia about 60% of the time. So again, folks, we will be back tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. live. I want to shout out 102 people. Yep, 102 of you are watching this live. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all for being here, all the comments. Again, help me get to 500 members in school. I would greatly appreciate it. We'll do something with a bunch of millionaires inside school once we get there. All right, take care. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.